with the weekend edition of What's Cooking Today, the nation's food, wine, restaurant, travel, and entertainment show. Michael Horn with Eric Hines.
And Michael Horn, we got him. We got Randy Mosher. He's the author of Tasting Beer in the second edition. It's the beer's best-selling companion, and it's been completely updated. He's going to give us all the updates.
Hi, everybody. It's me, Randy. Hi.
Good.
Randy, are you there, Randy?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm
good to be here.
Randy, I'm sorry. So just Randy, of course, as Eric mentioned, is the author of Tasting Beer, the second edition. This is the beer's best-selling companion. It's been completely updated. Welcome to the show. Where are you calling us from today, Randy? Where do you hail from?
Sunny Chicago.
All right. Hey, the Cubs there, you get those beers. They got beers out there in the pavilions, and they got Doug's Dogs out there for baseball season, don't they?
I love those Doug's Dogs, yeah.
What's good about a Doug's Dog? Because I have not had one. What's some special?
Well, this is a guy that went to culinary school, and all he really wanted to do was open a hot dog stand. So, you can get rattlesnake and French lamb sausage and all kinds of different things. He had quite a reputation, quite a following.
Only in Chicago. Say hey, as we like to say in Chicago there, and it's time for the Cubs to play some more ball. What's the best beer out there? I guess Old Style is the one to go with, but that's not a craft brew. What's the best craft brew at the stadium?
I haven't been in a while, so I know they keep changing things up. So, local's always best. Local, small, independent, support your little guys is always what I like to try and do.
Opening day coming up on Monday, the 10th. Dodgers going to be playing the Cubs there at Wrigley Field. So let's get into it here a little bit, Randy Mosher, and talk about this, your new updated version here, because you put the beer, the Beer and the Brewing Manual together, Tasting Beer, the second edition book. When did you first put that together?
The first edition came out in 2009. It was a result of a class that I'd been teaching for the Siebel Institute Brewing School here in Chicago. And it was designed to really help people go from just being interested in beer to really becoming an expert over the course of the book. We
should mention Randy Mosher is a creative force. He's been in home brewing for over 20 years. He is the author of Tasting Beer and Beer for All Seasons. He's a nationally recognized expert on beer, on brewing. He writes for just about every publication you can think of. He's lectured across the United States. He's taught beer courses. He's a member in the leadership of the Chicago Beer Society, the American Home Brewers Association, the Brewers Association. So what do we find in the updated edition here? You say there's some new updates in science and taste explanation about cultural factors that are influencing taste in beer. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a huge amount of research going on in the sensory system and the way it's processed. So I've been learning a lot about that, and I wanted to update it. Tasting is a complicated process. It uses a lot of your different senses, and it's really helpful to understand how your brain processes things. When you smell things, we've all had that experience. Sometimes when you smell a smell and it just magically transports you to someplace else. And, it turns out that that's how we store memories of aromas is through kind of emotional and place memories. These very ancient parts of our brains, like the hippocampus and the amygdala, really, they store those memories, and they are very different from our higher, more intellectual centers.
Excuse me, the hippocampus and the what was that you said?
The amygdala.
The amygdala. What is all that stuff?
That's all that lizard brain stuff. If you look at like your brain, you got all the people brain is all the gray matter's all on the outside, and then right in the middle, you got all these little parts and pieces, and those have been around for hundreds of millions of years, and they're core to our being, but we don't have a chance very often to really interact with them or pay much attention to them. But they drive our behavior much more than we all suspect.
I would think people were smarter there. And Randy Mosher is our guest. The book is called Tasting Beer. The second edition is out. Michael Horn, Eric Hines. And people were smarter in the old days. You didn't see them in their shopping carts back in ancient Rome, parking it in the middle of the roadway, so you had to walk around them, and they were oblivious to everything. And here's why I think so. Because we have the story today. They said that drinking wine exercises more working parts of your brain, and it's the best at stimulating for your brain. It gives your brain a workout. I would think beer, you're telling me, is doing the same thing. Am I right?
Beer's probably doing it twice as good because there's twice as many different aromas that you have a chance of finding in beer than you do in wine.
Now, what kind of aromas? Come on, tell us, because you find a lot of aromas in wine there, Mr. Beer Man. So what are we looking for in beer? What are we sniffing for when we sniff into some beer?
You're looking for in flavors of malt. So anything from bread to cracker to cake to cookies to caramel to nuts to toffee to coffee to chocolate to roast to toast. Then
Easy for you to say. Go ahead.
So these are all flavors that are created in the same processes that all those ingredients are, like things like toast. You stick a slice of bread in a toaster. Malt is kind of made that way in certain chemically
all
anyway.
Right, so I would give you yes, and what else?
And then the next thing, you're going to be looking for aromas of hops. So those can be floral, fruity, citrusy, tropical, resiny, piney, herbal. And that's that magical herb that are used to give beer its bitterness and give beer its aroma.
Well, hold on a second now. Hold on. Open a can of worms here. Stay with us here. Randy Mosher's with us, the Tasting Beer Second Edition book. Michael Horn, Eric Hines. What's cooking today?
If you're eligible for Medicare, you need to know there is money available to you that can lower your Medicare prescription costs. How much can you save? Find out now by making a free call to Health Markets. They'll search from a variety of nationally recognized plans to find you the right coverage at a price that fits your budget. And they'll do all this valuable research for you at no charge to you. And remember, you may be able to save money on your prescriptions. We'll tell you if you qualify. Why pay a penny more than you have to for an insurance policy? Let us find you the right plan at the right price and see if you qualify to lower your prescription costs. Put our free service to work for you at no charge. Call Health Markets right now.
800-990-0351. 800-990-0351. 800-990-0351. That's 800-990-0351.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., licensed in all 50 states and D.C. Service and product availability varies by state. Agents may be compensated based on your enrollment.
Let me take just a moment or two, if I may, and talk about a great place to eat. That's right, for you folks anywhere in the eastern San Fernando Valley, drop into Bob's Big Boys. That's right, in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. Now, everybody remembers the name Bob. They're getting bigger and bigger every day. Little old Bob carrying the hamburger in his checkered overalls is the same Bob that you remember from back through the years. And, of course, if you want to go in for a great lunch, remember their classic burger, the original double-deck hamburger combination. Delicious 100% pure ground beef in 2 patties with American cheese, lettuce, and our famous Big Boy special sauce. The name is Bob, and I think when you go in, you'll say, by golly, I'm sure glad that I found this restaurant because it's good for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. They've got all kinds of things, and all you have to do is remember. Bob's Big Boy in Sun Valley at 8274 Sunland Boulevard. It's a great place to eat.
When you've been married for 45 years, you begin to
finish each other's sentences.
Like how Kmart is now
a preferred Medicare Part D pharmacy with
co-pays as low as $1, which means we save lots of money. So I can finally build that
woman cave in the basement, Loretta's lair.
Wait, what?
Oh, you heard me.
Head to Kmart Pharmacy today for Medicare Part D copays as low as $1. Kmart Pharmacy accepts most Medicare Part D plans and is preferred in many. Visit any Kmart Pharmacy for details or go to kmartpharmacy.com to find a location nearest you.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Hi, friends. This is Larry Minetti. Go to LarryMinetti.com to get my book, Aloha Magnum. You'll read all about the wonderful guest stars like Carol Burnett, Elvis Presley, Frank Sinatra, and many, many more. There is an episode guide and my favorite recipes that I really cook at home. I will include a free signed photo with every book. Get Aloha Magnum at LarryMinetti.com. Order now. Aloha.
We're back with the weekend edition of What's Cooking Today. Michael Horn, Eric Hines. Little travel news for you if you're thinking about getting away here today for a weekend getaway or spring break. JetBlue, there's a startup based in Washington State. They're trying to make air travel more energy efficient and less time consuming. And they're going to use what they think is an underutilized resource, the small regional airport. So it got a bunch of money from JetBlue and Boeing to do it. This place is called Zunum Aero, A-E-R-O-Z-U-N-U-N, Zunum Aero, which is developing hybrid electric jets for flights under 1,000 miles to replace the gas guzzlers that are in the shuttle routes like Washington, D.C. to Boston, San Francisco to Los Angeles. They got a major boost with investors from Boeing's brand new ventures arm, Horizon X and JetBlue. So be looking for that. These aircraft would hold 10 to 50 passengers. And then in a related story, Airbus on the other side is trying to make the biggest passenger aircraft fit even more people. So if you're like stuffed in a seat there, you might have an option of the Airbus A380. It's a double-decker aircraft, holds an average of 497 passengers, and the company wants to bump that number to 575. To do it, they'd remove the top deck storage area, rearrange and combine the staircases, and move the crew rest areas. So be looking for two new thoughts there in your travel, going bigger and going smaller. Where are we headed back here now, Eric?
Wow, amazing. Yeah, we are going back with Randy Mosher. He's the author of Tasting Beer, now in its second edition. It's been completely updated, and it is beer's best-selling companion guide. Randy Mosher, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
And they serve beer on airplanes, don't they, Randy?
Yes, they do, but usually it may not be the kind of beer you're looking for if you're really...
Well, now, what does that mean, Randy Mosher? Okay, you already challenged us here on wine being the most stimulating for the brain. You're coming up with smelling hops and everything else in the beer. You like the craft brews, don't you?
I certainly do. Well, what I like is variety.
Yeah,
so I like a
that's
lot
me
of
too.
different flavors. I like a lot of choices, and there's nothing wrong with the beers that the big guys make, but they tend to make beer that's just sort of one thing. So I like a lot of variety.
Randy Mosher is the author of Tasting Beer, and the second edition is out. Tasting Beer's second edition. It's beer's best-selling companion. It's completely been updated. So what now? We talked about recent developments in science and taste. You mentioned that last segment. What about the current trends in beer, the craft beer trends? And these beer cocktails seem to be popping up everywhere. What's new in these areas?
Well, big beer cocktails are, they're kind of popular, but the big news, of course, is IPA is sort of everywhere now. It's 55% of craft beer sales. So it used to be just IPA, and now we have white IPA, black IPA, red IPA, Belgian IPA, session IPA, double IPA, triple IPA, fruited IPA. So it's like popping. And the really, really new thing is a type of a cloudy, creamy, very hoppy aroma IPA from the Northeast called New England IPA or Northeast IPA.
Now, the IPA is Indian Pale Ale, is that correct?
Yeah, it's named that way because beers like that were shipped around the Horn of Africa from England to the people that were colonizing South Africa down there.
All right, so that's where you get the IPA. So give us the basic primer, the difference between beer that's brewed that's from the bottom, from the top, or from both. What do you call those different styles?
Lagers and ales. So lager beer uses a special type of yeast that ferments on the bottom, but the difference is it ferments at cold temperatures, and that means that the yeast doesn't contribute much of its own aromas. With an ale, the yeast generally tends to float up onto the top, but the main difference is it works at a much higher temperature, and that gives you a lot more fruitiness. You may get a little bit of aromas of apples or of bubble gum or banana or berries or different kinds of fruitiness, and sometimes some spiciness too, depending on the strain. Like a classic German Weizen or wheat beer will have a little bit of a clove, allspice type of aroma, and that's all just because of the yeast.
And that's the lager, right? That's the beer, the Hefeweizen?
That's an ale.
That's an ale. Okay,
lagers,
so Eric, you're an ale guy. I'm a lager guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, lagers, the yeast doesn't bring much flavor to lagers. So the lagers tend to really emphasize the aroma, the flavors and aromas of the ingredients.
I'm a Czech. You and I have talked about this before, Randy Mosher. I'm a Czech, so I go there. And in the Pilsen, in the Czech Republic, isn't the Pilsner Urquell, don't they do it both ways, kind of from the bottom and the top, like a combo sort of or something in that?
Not that I'm aware of.
So it's bottom, then it's lager.
Lagers,
it's lager.
lot of fermentings. They do use a fair amount of hops in those beers.
Yeah.
They're one of the world's really classic, great beer styles.
You've heard of the Polish hop and the Czech dance. There you have it over there. And the original Budweiser is not this junk that they give you from St. Louis with the Clydesdales carrying this stuff around. They can't get rid of these days. Budvar is the original Budweiser. Can you tell us that story?
Well, that's a town in Czech Republic called České Budějovice, and they have a style that's similar to Pilsner, but a little softer and a little less aggressively hoppy. And of course, that company's been in trademark disputes with Anheuser-Busch for. They finally got it resolved, but they had a battle going for I think more than 50 years.
Well, some of those guys from the one side of the family stole the recipe and took it into Munich, and they started doing this Budweiser stuff that they now put the Clydesdales. That's the best part of them is the horses, for gosh sakes. And this, am I right? This, if you take Budvar, which is sold in the United States and in other parts outside of the Czech Republic, it's called Czechvar, Czechvar, and you can get that at like Total Wines. That's a great beer. It's like you say, hey, have some original Budweiser. It's totally different. Am I right?
Yeah, in the old days, the Americans used to use the names of those towns, so they'd sell Munich beers and Budweiser beers and Andecker beers and all of that. That was just sort of common, and eventually they kind of turned that into a trademark.
What's your favorite over-the-counter beer and why? I'm not talking about the craft brews because everybody loves different craft brews and every town's got them. We are broadcast on AM 1170, The Answer in San Diego, and that's craft brew capital of the world. What's your favorite over-the-counter beer if you had to go for one?
I don't know. I guess you did. I think they're all equally good in quality. The funny thing is that if you put three different ones in front of people, most of their drinkers would probably have a fairly difficult time in a blind tasting actually picking out the one that they drink most of the time.
And I think therein, Randy Mosher, is why your book is so important. And Eric, maybe you chime in here, Tasting Beer 2nd Edition, because people think all beer tastes the same, and it's like wine. It's totally different. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now, where do we get your beer, Randy Mosher? Where do you get your beer? Where do you get your book also? A book. I think I've had too much beer. I'm talking about the book. It's called Tasting Beer, the 2nd Edition. Where is it available?
You can get that pretty much, all the places where books are sold. If people want to know more about me, they can go to Randy Mosher, MOSHER.com, and find out about all the things I do and some blog postings and things like that.
You got that bank job you pulled still sitting up there on the old website? All the things you do? I'm just kidding. He didn't rob a bank, everybody. I made that up. No, Randy Mosher does tastes, he does lectures, he's all over the place. So go to randymosher.com, R-A-N-D-Y. There's your Randy, M-O-S-H-E-R, Mosher.com. Get out of Chicago someday and come in the studio, Randy. Thanks so much for being with us.
Beautiful. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
It's Hoist a Frou right here on CRN, the Craft Radio Network.
For life's aches and pains, choose Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray. It works fast, and it's easy to use. Designed to work odor-free in all those remote areas. It works here. It's odor-free here. It works here. Blue Emu Continuous Pain Relief Spray. Fast-acting, easy-to-use, odor-free pain relief for all those remote areas. Available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and other fine retailers.
A CNN original series.
Stop doubting.